Oh, hello. Welcome back to Dr. Moore's Fantasy Prescriptions for your fantasy lineups. It's week 3. Let's get into some guys that need to perform for you this week.
All right, quarterback number one. This week, we got to have it from Jared Goff. Jared Goff, he hasn't really owned up to the expectations that you would think with the offense that he has. We have the Arizona Cardinals this week, and Josh Allen with them up week 1. They had really a depleted offense they had to face in week 2 with the Rams. The Arizona Cardinals have allowed the third most passing touchdowns in the NFL so far, and Jared Goff has weapons. Your fantasy team needs it, and Jared Goff has to deliver. Next, I will take Joe Burrow. Week 1, 8 fantasy points. Week 2, 17. This week right here, he has the Washington Commanders. Really, the Commanders have been bad as far as allowing a lot of passing yards and touchdowns ever since the 2023 season. You have Jamar Chase, you have Joe Burrow, and this is a favorable matchup. Be the Joe Cool that your fantasy owner expected to be. This may be the last week that you really depend on this guy. I don't know what's going on with that offense, but right now Trevor Lawrence has only one passing touchdown through 2 games. Just one. His high mark has only been 220 passing yards. In week 2, he only had 16 passing yards in the first half. Now the Bills secondary, that could be a stingy bunch, allowing the third lowest yards per attempt. It's not really a favorable matchup for Lawrence to bounce back. He has to do something, or he may go to the bench, or worse. Running backs. All right, Vanilla White, you're up. 68 yards on 22 carries in 2 games, but the Raiders have been facing tough defenses, so we can kind of try to hang it on that. This defense that the Las Vegas Raiders will be facing will be the Carolina Panthers. I mean, need I say more? It is time for Zamir White to have a game for fantasy owners. And this is the perfect game for a breakout. Now, this running back has been delivered. And I just want to go ahead and just put a must start on this guy right here, Jordan Mason. Now, he had an impressive week 1, and honestly, he followed it up and had a great week 2 as well. Until Christian McCaffrey comes back, he's going against the Los Angeles Rams. The offense is pretty much depleted, and that defense is going to wear down pretty easy and pretty early. So, Jordan Mason, I like him. He's a must start really going forward. The guy that needs to step up for fantasy offenses this week is going to be Brandon Ayuk. Right, held out. They got some reason why, like, he's not really up to speed as far as fantasy points right now and fantasy production. But Debo Samuel has an injury that could increase the volume for Ayuk. And man, this is the week right here. You got to start Ayuk, and this is you're on the double as well. You have to produce for fantasy lineup. You gotta have it. Amari Cooper is not being done any justice by the quarterback position. He only has 7 fantasy points right now headed in. He is a difference maker once you get him the ball. Hopefully, against the New York Giants defense, finally Amari Cooper can hit pay dirt for fantasy owners who are still holding on to him, having faith that he possibly can start to break out. Look for this is the best matchup that can really for Amari Cooper to do such a thing. You're on the bubble, Amari.
So many people have been waiting on this guy, like seriously.
Man, people have been waiting for Kyle Pitts to break out since his rookie season. This game against the defending world champion Kansas City Chiefs could finally be that game. Kansas City has allowed the most receiving yards and the most targets to tight ends this season. We've seen how the Bengals used Mike Gesicki, and you've seen how the Ravens was effective for Isaiah Likely. Should be a heavy workload for Kyle Pitts. Staying in that same game, I have to go with tight end Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce has not been the Travis Kelce of old in the first 2 weeks. It's prime time. It's Mahomes. It's Kelce. And normally in prime time games, they normally like to step up and have a big showing. So for fantasy owners, you're expecting that the Mahomes Kelce hookup can really flourish in this game against Atlanta.
Lastly, we got to talk about the kickers because they're people too. Jason Sanders. So far, Mr. Sanders, I know I have him in a deeper league on a fantasy team, and so far he's only producing like 7 per game. And honestly, it just has not been enough. I need double digits. The fantasy faithful, the fantasy owners need double digits. Jason, this is a time for you to show that you are still a top-rated kicker in this league. This has been Dr. Moore, prescribing your fantasy prescriptions for your fantasy lineup. Week 3.